to Moments with Marianne. I'm so delighted we're spending this time here today. We have just a very inspirational show coming right up. Our guest today is Jenny Mannion, and she's here today to talk to us about her contribution to the new book, 2018 Ho'oponopono Almanac. So Jenny graduated from Penn State University with a BA in psychology, and she's always been very interested in how the mind works and how to use this information to help other people. Jenny began her own transformation through healing herself of several chronic diseases in 3 weeks, which really kind of sparked her journey and writing the book, A Short Path to Change, 30 Ways to Transform Your Life. Jenny's been a guest on this show and the Whitney Reynolds Show, a PBS Chicago show, in regards to her journey and how she's been able to implement such great changes. So let's welcome to the show, Jenny.
Thanks so much for having me, Marianne. So happy to be here.
Oh, I always enjoy spending time with you, and I'm so delighted to hear you had this new book come out. And so, gosh, I'm glad that we're spending this time to talk about it. And for our listeners that are kind of like new to who you are and your story, why don't you share a little bit about you first before we get started?
Sure. Well, my journey began really with, I was sick for 7 years and was able to heal myself of 7 years of chronic illness in 3 weeks. And that was with doctors telling me I'd be in a wheelchair and I'd never get better. So that really awakened me to the power of the mind. And, hey, there must be much more going on than I recognized. So I started to follow just my spiritual path. And I've been an intuitive healer and author. The last 11 years have really opened up. And really my key message and what I try to do is find as many tools as possible that are easy and short and that we can use in our day-to-day life, that it's not like you're spending 2 hours meditating a day, but you're using these little tools, some are as quick as 30 seconds, like Ho'oponopono takes, where you really are bringing yourself to the present moment and becoming aware of your own power to shape your reality, to heal from whatever limiting beliefs or whatever it is that isn't going the way you want to in your life. So really to become a conscious creator and to create a life that's filled with joy, because I really do believe that we are all entitled to that, and that is the way life is supposed to be led. But we have a lot of negativity and a lot of programs running, so it really is in learning how to harness our own powers that we can start to create our own life.
Well, and you and I have been friends for a little while, and I've had the pleasure of not only having you on the show before, but we've done sessions before. And I have to say, the sessions I've done with you were just profound. I found them to be just immensely profound. It was such a great experience to walk through that, and now to kind of talk with you about, your new contribution to this book and just, see how everything comes together. It's pretty extraordinary.
Thank you so much, Marianne. Yeah, I really am passionate about sharing this with people. I remember what it was like to be sick. I certainly, this whole time, every step forward has been met with my own limiting beliefs and some healing that needed to be done. So I recognize that we all have a lot of the same stuff, same, hard on ourselves, lack of self-love that comes up, limiting beliefs, past stories. So it really is my absolute pleasure and joy to see people just take that step and really start to have those aha moments and see their life come together in a more beautiful way. And my life looks nothing like it did, 11 years ago when I was sick. And I know that, if I can change it, anyone else can. So just really enjoy being that, catalyst and person that provides the tools for people to do so.
Well, and that's such a great place to come from, because a lot of times people, especially if you're sick, I've known people who have had different autoimmune diseases and just having a tough time. Doctors can't figure out what's going on, but to be given such like a final diagnosis like, well, you're just going to have to live with this. We don't know what's going on with you. It can be really devastating.
It can be, and I work with a lot of late-stage cancer clients in my practice, and yeah, it gets me very upset when I hear people are given 3 or 6 months to live and not really given any alternative, because I know that probably almost any doctor that's been practicing a while has seen a quote-unquote miraculous recovery. So they know that these things do happen, and even granting that person that little bit of hope would really, I think, change the numbers of people that do pass, because when you're given that, you almost feel like you're given a death sentence, whereas I've seen clients that were given a week to live, survive, and, the one woman I'm thinking of, she's been cancer-free 2 years. So I know that it is possible. I've seen lots of clients heal from stage 3 and stage 4 cancer in my practice, and I know I'm not alone. In many energy healing modalities all over the world, this happens. And then people that just have these innate abilities. I just got a client who was so wonderful. Like, he told me that, and he never knew any of this stuff or practiced any of this stuff, but he told me he had stage 3 rectal cancer, and he told me it just occurred to him to start talking to the cancer, to be like, hey, cancer, you don't want to be killed, right? And if I go to chemo, you're going to be killed, so why don't you just go in remission? We could both live, if they do chemo, I might die too, so why don't you just go in remission? We could both live happily ever after. So it's just really interesting how some people have that awareness, and that's definitely not the common thing. And then other people just, we trust our doctors, and Western medicine has some really wonderful things about it, but it's not a comprehensive medical system since it discounts Eastern medicine and the energy body. So you're really kind of getting a limited perspective. And I don't fault the doctors. That's what they've learned. But I think really to get that full perspective, one, we need to be our own medical advocate, and we also need to really approach it from the Eastern-Western perspective and include energy in our energy body.
Yeah. And, and just for our listeners that are maybe going through something right now, this isn't to say that they're to stop their medical treatment with their doctor.
No.
It's just, for them to explore other possibilities with their medicine, that they're with modern-day medicine.
Absolutely. And the belief system is truly important. And I have had clients come to me that are doing chemo radiation, clients that don't want to. And, I treat everyone exactly the same, and it really is what you feel is going to help you. That is a really important factor as well.
So when you started on this path, why did you choose Ho'oponopono?
When I heard the story, so, the story briefly for people that don't know, I heard about a Dr. Len in Hawaii who was a psychiatrist who was assigned to a criminal mental health facility, a ward, where no one stayed, where the staff was always kind of running away and quitting because it was such a violent ward, and every doctor had kind of given up working on this population. So he went in and he didn't see the clients, but he decided he would say this ancient Hawaiian prayer for them for the allotted session time. And within weeks, people were getting better. The staff was noticing a difference. The staff was asking him to start doing it for them. There weren't many violent incidences. And within a couple of months, flowers were growing on the grounds where they never grew before. And within a couple of years, that ward was actually shut down. There was no more need. People were getting off their medications, and they were truly healing. So when I heard that, and I heard how simple this prayer is, only 4 sentences, it resonated with me. And then the first time I said it for myself, I was bawling, and it really just hit home with me at the simplicity and the beauty. From there, it was all about that self-forgiveness. Again, it always comes back to that self-love. And when we start saying Ho'oponopono for ourselves, we're really connecting to our soul. We're connecting to our higher self, the highest version of ourselves, and we're kind of asking for forgiveness, for these limits that we're putting on ourselves, for these stories that we've come in with and that have perpetuated themselves. And we're telling ourselves that we love ourselves. And that's something that we're really not taught to do. We're maybe taught even that that's egoic at an early age. But to be able to give ourselves that love and connect with that higher self and really feel that forgiveness and love is beautiful, and it is powerful. And I did see it create miracles pretty early on.
Now, it's interesting when we're open to looking at new ways to approach just our health and have that openness, just the miracles that are allowed to happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. it's fun. I mean, I have seen miracles happen when people don't believe stuff, but it is more common in my work to see it when people do have that belief. And they are open and say, why not me? You know, a lot of times we're saying what if in the bad scenarios as we're worrying, but what if you just felt better tomorrow? You know, what if things started to get a little less heavy, or what if you started to feel a little less pain? And really starting to focus that energy on what we do want instead of that fear and worry where it tends to go. And Ho'oponopono is a beautiful prayer because you can say it anywhere. You could say it when you're driving, you know, you could say it in the shower. It's really quick, and it's easy to remember, and it really just does free you, not only of the self, you know, not only to get in touch with your self-love, but if you have someone you're blaming for something, or you feel a victim to something, it really is a powerful prayer to kind of let go of some of that anger, because if we are in blame mode or victim mode, we are not moving forward, and we're keeping ourselves in the past. So it's so powerful because you can use it so many different ways, which is, you know, part of the reason it's such an honor to be a part of this book, because everyone contributes their own different ways for using the prayer.
Well, and so for our listeners that maybe are not familiar with Ho'oponopono, why don't you share a little bit about what that is?
So it's 4 sentences. It's, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. So we can say this to ourselves. Again, we're saying it for ourselves. We're kind of just, we're looking into that soul aspect of ourselves. At soul level, we are perfect. That's not, the soul is not the part that's judging us and insulting us and playing back those recorded stories. That's really more the egoic mind. So from our soul perspective, we are perfect. So I love you. You know, if we didn't love ourselves, I love Neil Donald Walsh gave a great quote one time in a book saying that if even fear is love, because if we're fearing something, we're afraid something will happen to us. So that means we do love ourselves. So really knowing that at some level, you know, if we're afraid of being broke, well, we're afraid because we won't have enough to sustain ourselves. So we do love ourselves and care about ourselves, even if we don't act like it a lot of the times, or we're berating ourselves a lot of the times. So getting to that love. I love you. I'm sorry for this, you know, nearsighted vision that I have. I'm sorry for the limits I've put on you. I'm sorry for the stories that I'm running. Please forgive me and thank you. And at soul level, you're always forgiven. You're always able to move past what it is, because this is all a learning experience. You're never judged so harshly as we judge ourselves. So it really is a freeing prayer. And when you say it for someone else, it's freeing too. And I know that it's so hard sometimes to say I love you to someone that you feel or has, you know, really done you wrong in a physical or mental or emotional way. But again, it's that higher perspective and the moving past the pain and moving past that victim mentality, and knowing too, I mean, I know that when I've said it to, you know, someone that, when I said it to, you know, my sexual abuser, you know, when I was saying that to go through that, I knew that he was sexually abused, you know, so going from that perspective, like, people repeat patterns. Happy, well-adjusted people don't hurt people. People that have problems, you know, hurt people. People that don't feel good enough about themselves hurt people to control people. So when you're getting to that I love you, you can even imagine that person at soul level. You know, you don't have to imagine them. When Dr. Len was saying this, you know, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, to rapists, to murderers, you know, he was saying that prayer basically like, let me let go of all this judgment and all the energy that I have contributed to anything that's contributed to this, because we all contribute to our own reality. So really letting go of that so that we can move past. And I've seen this, it's funny, one of the first stories I heard from a client that I gave this to said there was a woman in his office that just annoyed him so much. Like, he'd cringe going into the office. He couldn't take it. And he did this before going into work that day, and he said it was like she was a different person. You know, I mean, we give off energy before we come into contact with somebody. So if you're saying in your head, this person's a pain over and over and over again, and you're going to see them, that really doesn't allow for any other possibility. So, using it as that, too, as like a buffer before you go to see someone, that might be a little stressful. There are just so many ways to use this prayer, and even as background noise, because usually when we have those quiet moments, they're not necessarily positive. Our mind repeats a problem or a to-do list, so even as that background noise, to start turning that into a prayer. I started doing that, and that was really powerful, too. If I caught myself in a negative frame of mind, just bringing myself back, because when you're releasing, you just continually releasing, when you're releasing that negative energy, it really is allowing for new positive energy to come in.
Yeah, it's so interesting. You're so right. A lot of times when we're just doing our work or what have you, there is a lot of negative feedback that we have to program our brain not to participate in. Yeah. And so in doing that, this practice really helps get us at least to the place that we're really desiring to be.
It really does. And you can do it for anything. That's the beautiful thing. If you're having trouble with money, do it about money. If you're having trouble with relationship issues, do it for that. Whatever you need to release, that's going to be getting you in a healthier place for a relationship. It's really about taking ownership, too, and understanding that we do play a part in creating our reality, a very strong part, and those limiting thoughts are going to keep us repeating the same thing. So why not say this prayer instead of repeating those limiting thoughts, and be able to release this stuff so we can start creating from the new.
Well, and so when you were talking and giving your example earlier about the person who went into the office, I think a lot of times when people are doing this, they're doing it going, okay, I need this person to change. And that's not the right mindset to be in doing Ho'oponopono. No,
it's really about our experience. So, when he was doing it, he was releasing whatever energy he was contributing to that situation. I'm thinking this person is a pain every day before I go in the office. Guess what? That person is going to have that energy. And what we do project out, we get back. I remember, wasn't even Ho'oponopono, but I remember my step-grandmother was a very mean person, and I dreaded going there every time. And one time, way before I knew any of this stuff, I was like, I'm going to find something positive in that woman today. I am telling you, there has to be something nice about her, and I went into it that way, and she wound up breaking down crying to me that day, telling me how hard it was getting older. And I saw this real compassionate, almost like a scared little child, a very different side than I had seen. And that was because my energy had changed. Nothing about the circumstances had changed. So when we do this, we are taking control of our own, how we want to feel. Do we want to go into work every day stressed? Probably not. So, why not do this before? Why not do this before you're having a tough conversation? So you're releasing that story or the negative emotions that you might be going in there with, and coming from a place of love. And as I mentioned before, like anyone that we feel has hurt us, they've been hurt. Otherwise, they wouldn't have hurt us, So coming from that place of compassion. And, I'm sorry I called you these names for the last 20 years in my head, Hey,
no worries. I forgive you. But, hey, I get it because, we're doing it so that we can fix what's wrong within ourselves, not what's wrong with the other person.
Absolutely. It's all about that ownership and clearing ourselves as much as possible. And, Dr. Len would say, I took a certification class, actually, because I love it so much with him and Joe Vitale, and, he was just saying that you're always clearing yourself. You're always clearing yourself. If this is your background talk all the time, you're going to see things shift pretty dramatically because you're switching from that. I just read we have 60,000 thoughts a day. Most people, 95% are the same ones as yesterday, and 80% are negative. So there's a lot of room for improvement there. And if you start working on that 80% and start saying Ho'oponopono, a few times a day when you catch yourself, that's going to make things change in your life. It really is. It's going to switch up the energy.
So you mentioned earlier using Ho'oponopono for money. So what people are probably, if someone's new to this, are probably going, or even people that have been doing it for a while, they're like, well, I don't get how that all works together because, money's like a thing. And I feel like, how am I supposed to feel about it, and what is the right feeling?
Yeah, well, money is an energy. It's an energy exchange. Someone gives us a product or a service and we hand them money. It is an energy exchange. So if we've grown up with limiting beliefs or even doubts in ourselves of we can't create money, it's hard to create money, you have to work hard for money, we want to release those thoughts. We really don't want to be carrying those around, because the energy that we carry around will keep manifesting unless we change it. So we've got to switch up our story. We've got to offer forgiveness for ourselves for repeating those things over and over. I mean, if we're beating ourselves up about it, about not having enough money, about maybe I'm not smart enough to make enough money, or my parents never had money, these really are not empowering words or energy that's going to create it. So to say Ho'oponopono for your financial situation, say it to your bank account, say it to yourself for releasing these thoughts about money that you grew up with or you were programmed around, or society fed you. I mean, we have so many thoughts, so many ideas about money that are fed to us every day, in different ways. So that is a really good one, too. I'm sure there's a lot of releasing there, many people can do. Just keep releasing, and thinking about it. And money is, it is an energy. I mean, and most of the time it's not money that we want. We want the freedom that money gives us. We want to be able to get what we want. We want to be able to give nice things to people. So really looking at it that way, too. Money is not evil. Money is just an energy. People use it well, and people use it in not so nice ways, just like anything else. But, if you can think about the ways that you would love to use money, and how it would help other people and help yourself, that's a much healthier way to look at it than that I have to attain this much, just so, and just saying that prayer will help release. It will help release some of those limiting thoughts and stories.
Well, and so to stay on this topic just for a little bit longer.
Yeah, sure.
So how, like, let's say someone, they're like, okay, I'm doing Ho'oponopono. I don't feel like I have a thing with money, but I'm still not seeing the abundance I want. So how do they know when it's time to kind of revamp or relook at their practice?
Yeah, well, I mean, we also have to take action. We just can't say Ho'oponopono and sit on the couch and hope everything works out for us. There is inspired action in law of attraction and any of these things. I mean, we're trying to release these negative thoughts so we get more inspired thoughts. So we, by saying Ho'oponopono and bringing yourself to that moment, you're bringing yourself to the present moment, which is the most powerful moment. We're not in worry in the future. We're not in fear from the past. We're in the present moment, which is where we create from. So to harness that energy of being present, and maybe, when you've said Ho'oponopono for a while, sitting in quiet some of that time that you would be saying that, and really asking yourself, okay, what's my next step? What's an idea that I can put forth to create? Getting to that present moment is where the power is, and I do think, practicing Ho'oponopono is a really easy way to kind of keep bringing yourself back, checking yourself through the day. What am I thinking? Oh, here I go again. I'm on that track. That's not good. Let me say Ho'oponopono for a few minutes, and then maybe after that even getting quiet with yourself because you're in a more calm space, putting your hand on your heart and asking yourself, okay, I'd really like to be loving and supporting of myself. What can I do? And not discounting the idea, because it can be go for a walk, and during that walk you'll get the idea you need. It can be, go a different way to work. It can be little nudges the universe gives us. So really just kind of taking that guidance and turning in and trusting the guidance, because when we keep repeating that, it's not working, guess what? It's not going to be working. So really to just keep saying, how can I help myself? What can I do to help myself? And really addressing your higher self. You're in that place of really communicating with your higher self, your God self, when you're saying Ho'oponopono. So when you're in that space, as I said, a few minutes after, after saying it, put your hand on your heart and just go within and ask yourself the question. And you can either, be ready to write down really fast how the answer comes through, or just take that little nudge from the universe that, okay, I need to call this person. Okay, I need to go for this walk. Okay, I need to go to this website and learn about this. So really starting to listen to ourselves and get quiet as often as possible, to tune in. It doesn't have to be for hours a day, but even if you did, Ho'oponopono a couple times a day and after each time got quiet and just asked yourself a question, I really do feel you're going to receive answers.
Well, and I really like how you put that, because a lot of times, and I've done it myself, so I get it, a lot of times people have done things like, I'm doing this, I've been doing this Ho'oponopono, and it's not working. Where's my stuff? How come I don't feel more peace,
Those patients, I totally get that.
Like, what in the world?
And there's a faith. There is a faith and a trust in divine timing, and that the universe knows better when to deliver that, man of your dreams to you, or that opportunity to you, and that patience and love. And I do think things come faster when we have that faith and aren't questioning, it's the watch pot never boils kind of thing. I mean, you can't always be expecting it. If you're in that state, you're kind of saying you don't believe it. And I've gotten trapped there too. You believe me? Like I said,
you're so right, because that's a faith thing, because it's like, you've got to at some point go, okay, it's out of my hands, I'm giving it up. Absolutely. And that's really challenging for us as humans, because our brain's always going. So our brain's going to say, no, you're not. You can do more. You're not doing it right. It's going to come up with 20 different things to say to get us aggravated and feel disempowered and really trust our faith. And when we get closer, this is even the, hardest part to deal with, is when we get closer to what we want. The universe will usually throw in some self-sabotage or almost like a little test to be like, are you sure you really want this? And we will have to show faith during that time, and we will have to love ourselves enough to move through it, not punish ourselves more. Okay, so you ate 10 cookies, you don't have to eat the whole bag, you can stop now, or, okay, you didn't follow through on that, that call, you could do that tomorrow. Whatever it is that we're sabotaging ourselves with, or the limit that comes up, just knowing that, again, having that faith, knowing that it's okay. This is part of the process, loving that part of the process, loving even the parts of you that come up and are doubtful of that process, because, if it's something we haven't done before, if we haven't attained great wealth before, if we haven't had that relationship of our dreams before, of course we're going to have a little doubt going in, and loving that doubt and saying, oh, right, I'm human. Sometimes I try to shake my head at myself. Oh, right, I'm human again. Yeah, there it goes. And laugh about it and not beat ourselves up about it. It is much easier. Love ourselves where we are. Of course it's uncomfortable if we're taking a step up, but it's okay. That's human. And I love myself. I love that part of myself. And if it was a friend going through it, I'd just say, have a little faith, have a little faith a little longer. It's okay. It's going to be fine. And finding that compassion for ourselves and just throwing on a whole lot more Ho'oponopono. Kind of double that Ho'oponopono up, Well, and it is so easy to kind of get thrown into the bushes on that, because, it's like, gosh, I must not be doing it right. And it can be kind of not just a test of faith for the universe, God, whatever's working for us, but for ourselves, in that we can make these happen, and we're powerful creators as well. We are such powerful creators, yeah. And that first doubt that comes up, sometimes, and as I said, the closer you get, sometimes the bigger you'll have 3 challenges along the way of getting there. And it really is your past limiting beliefs coming up to kind of test
waters. Are you really ready? Because the ego will hold you back, not because it's cruel, but because change can be scary, and it's more comfortable even in your discomfort than it is moving forward. It'll rationalize things for you. Oh, you're much more comfortable. Let's go back to eating those cookies. That really feels good. Or let's go back to dating that bad boy. That was kind of exciting, or, whatever it is, it's going to come up again. And just to love ourselves enough, again, laugh at it if you can, better than crying about it, just,
oh, for sure.
Understand you're human. Don't let it get you in a tailspin. If it gets you in a tailspin, still stopping it at some point and appreciating that you did stop it, appreciating that, okay, well, I went into a day of depression. At least I didn't go into 3 days of depression. I'm doing better, appreciating every step forward that you're making instead of, highly criticizing that half step back. And you're going to keep moving forward. If you're on the spiritual journey, you've opened an eye, you're ready to do work on yourself. You're going to keep moving forward. It might be a little bit of a cha-cha sometimes, but you are going to keep moving forward. And the harder periods will be shorter, and there'll be longer between them. So just being really patient and kind and loving to yourself. And when you get uncomfortable, there's so many things to do. Yes, you can do Ho'oponopono. Yes, you can call a friend. You can go for a walk. I have my clients usually make up a list of 10 things that they can do to find comfort in so they don't go back to doing some of the self-sabotaging behaviors. I have clients, doctors that smoke. That's not a good combination, but that's their stress relief. So to not do that, to be able to find what it is that's going to support you in that moment and keep moving you forward. And I do feel like Ho'oponopono is one of the most powerful tools for that because I said, it's so easy. That's the beauty of it. It's so easy. And 4 sentences, it's so quick. You can say it whenever, wherever.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, when we are doing Ho'oponopono, and we're expecting maybe something to happen or something to shift, and then it doesn't. A lot of times that could be because, maybe something better is coming.
Exactly. And maybe it is in your highest. Maybe the universe knows a little better than you,
Oh, imagine that.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe that relationship, you're saying Ho'oponopono, praying that relationship comes back in your life, but maybe that relationship, it was time to go, for your highest good. So not putting our expectations on it or exactly how it's going to go. When we worry about the how, it really limits ourselves. Just saying the prayer, having faith, and noticing every little positive change and giving that gratitude. Not saying, oh, well, that was a little bit, but I want more, but, being like, yeah, thank you. I noticed this, and you can even say more, please, yeah, this is wonderful. I'm enjoying this. But being really grateful. Gratitude is really important, too, and being cognizant of everything that we have and everything that is changing. We have to be aware of our current situation and the subtle shifts that might happen. A lot of times it is the subtle shifts that lead to the bigger shifts, so paying gratitude for every little thing that happens.
Well, and I know that you are just an expert coach and you've helped thousands of people along your journey. When you're working with people, and especially in regards to this practice, what are some of the things that you see as kind of a place where they get stuck?
You mentioned a couple, I don't know if it's working. One of the ones.
Where's my stuff?
Yeah, where's my stuff? And also the relationship thing is hard because, say it's with a parent. Someone can really feel like I'm going to say Ho'oponopono and then it'll fix everything. Well, it can release a lot of the emotions. It can hopefully get you to a better place. But it's not necessarily going to totally change the person, So I've definitely seen it do work wonders in marriages and in some relationships. But sometimes the relationships just aren't in your highest good at that point. So not holding on so hard to the result and knowing that, Yeah, the universe is a tiny bit smarter than all of us put together. So, just that trust that it's okay. And, with the patience with things, like knowing that, okay, whatever is being released, and in perfect divine timing. If I don't give up hope, if I notice the little changes, things will come to me in time, and it's perfect. But once we start doubting, it's almost like a reset. We're kind of resetting ourselves because we are setting ourselves back. We're saying that we don't believe. Well, I didn't get it within a week, so this is BS. No way. This can't be. The universe might deliver that, in like 3 weeks, or maybe something different, maybe something better. I've seen that too with people with, I really want this job. I had this job interview. I really want this job. I'm going to say ho'oponopono for anything for myself, that make sure I get the job. And they didn't get that job, but guess what? There was a better one a couple weeks later waiting, but cursing that at the time. Why didn't I get it? I said ho'oponopono, and, this should have been. But no, the universe was waiting to deliver something better for you.
It's so interesting, like when we really push these kind of things sometimes, and the universe does give it to us, it feels like we're just pushing it the entire way. Like we're going to bludgeon this thing until it fits into our little round peg here, And then we get there and we're like, whoa, this is a miserable place to be.
Right.
Because it feels when you're having to work and work and work and work, then it's probably not the path, right?
Exactly, and that's what I've noticed. Like in some parental relationships, that's a perfect example. Okay, so maybe ho'oponopono does work for a little while, and maybe your relationship feels a little better for a little while. But if that person has not changed and the same patterns are in place, guess what? You're going to find yourself in that same situation and more frustrated now because you kind of were given signs to let it go and you didn't, and you're pushing a certain thing, whether it's, a romantic relationship too. So really just being cognizant of how you feel. And if you feel like you're pushing anything, it's not right. I mean, really, life is supposed to be in flow. It's one thing to put a little effort in. It's another thing to feel like you're pushing a big boulder up a hill. That is not how the universe works. I've heard people say, where's your yes? Is it your yes to walk away, or is it your yes to keep pushing this person to try to change and, frustrate yourself and frustrate them at the same time? So, really the more we look at ourselves too and really keep asking ourselves what feels in flow, what would make me happy? What feels good when I leave it? Energy is so important to watch our own energy. Do I feel great when I leave that person? Do I feel great when I leave that job or that client? Assessing it every time, does it make you feel great or does it feel like you've just been through the ringer? You feel like you've been through the ringer, it's probably time to take a little look at that, and if you can't walk totally away from a relationship, you can do things to support yourself. You could say ho'opono before and after. You could do something joyful. Make a point of going for a walk after you see that person or have that frustrating situation. So you're giving back to yourself and you're just not sitting in the negativity, which is what, 80% of negative thoughts means that, a lot of times we are sitting in that negativity.
It's kind of like the telltale sign of if it's really where we should be or not.
Absolutely. We know. If you put your hand on your heart and ask, is this right? You're going to get that first answer is the right answer. And so many people they get very afraid to leave relationships because, they'll make up every excuse because, some are real 3D excuses or they seem it, like money. I can't leave the relationship because of money or because of the kids or because of this or because of that. But if that is not in your highest good, there is a way. There is a way, that you can get help or you can, find a way within yourself to get out, and to start anew. And the universe will support that. If you are acting in your highest good, the universe definitely provides. And that's, what I see over and over again. Once we start taking that step in the direction that's in our highest good, it's amazing how much support can be given to us.
Well, it's so interesting, and, to kind of bring this full circle, when we talk about using ho'oponopono for health, how does that work when someone might not know the reason why there's a discord with their health, or does it matter?
I don't think it really matters, but, with health, I think it's important that we look at, again, what are the messages we're sending our body? I know that when I was sick, it was mostly my legs that were in tremendous pain, so I was cursing them all the time. Why do I have these legs? I danced. I was a dancer. Why are my legs in pain? I'm only 35 years old. Why am I in so much pain? What's the matter with you legs? All these negative thoughts. Guess what? That's not healing,
Imagine that.
So, what are you trying to tell me, legs? I know my legs were telling me, you're doing way too much. You better sit down, and I didn't listen, and I didn't listen, and I didn't listen, So our body does try to communicate with us, not to punish us, but just to tell us when we're out of balance, when something needs attention. I'm a chakra addict. I love the chakra system because it's it is your inner diagnostic system. By learning about the chakras, you can learn where things are out of alignment. But if you're saying Ho'oponopono, you don't even have to worry about that. Just say that, I could have definitely used a lot of Ho'oponopono to my legs, at that time. Just say it to whatever body part. I'm sorry for cursing you for years, and sending you these negative messages. I want to be aware. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. Just saying those things is really healing. And a lot of things, too. With the body, we just get so caught up in what everyone else says, in what our doctors say, in the 3 people around us that have had that same experience or know someone that has had that same experience, and has to give you that advice. Just really starting to trust yourself, listen to yourself, say that prayer to get rid of all the negative energy around it. Be grateful for yourself that you're aware enough to kind of take this time out and not be in the pain, but remove yourself kind of from it and say this prayer, make that kind of connection to your higher self, which can bring things into balance really, really quickly, if we allow it. And just know that, we're only seeing this little sliver of possibilities. There's so many possibilities we can't even imagine. So by letting go and releasing these negative emotions, we're really coming into that fullness, that opening of, yes, I want to receive something different. I'm ready. Bring it. So it's a much more empowering place to be.
Well, and what if, here we go with the what if game, right? What if, because I can just kind of hear people saying, gosh, well, I'm saying I love you, please forgive me. What if I don't feel it? What if I don't feel that I love you? What if I really hate this pain? So how would someone get beyond that? Do they just fake it till they make it, or is it something that they really have to get into that place of feeling like they love it?
Well, saying it is one thing. I always feel that if the emotion is there, it's stronger. I think that there are ways that we can say we love it. Think about ways that, as saying, using myself as an example. So using my legs as an example, thinking of when I was a dancer and I loved my legs. I do love you. Finding that place, because there's some place, thinking about yourself, when that part was working well, or imagining it working well again, and being in flow with your body. It's not in flow, again, not to punish you. It's not in flow because something's out of balance. So you sending it love really does help it, bring it back into balance. So, I guess the fake it till you make it, but I think there is a way to actually tap into, I would say to take a couple minutes, and try to tap into a time where you did love that part of your body, where maybe, for me it was dance, but say it's, one part of your body that you really enjoy, and even say you can't find that love for that part that hurts. Find love for another part of your body. Find love for, you love your hair, or you love that you work out at the gym and your arms are toned, or you love, you love, part of you. Find a part of you that you've loved before, or you do love currently, and tap into that love and say it. I do feel like it's stronger if you say it and mean it Saying it out loud is very powerful, too, because you have that voice behind it, and sound is very powerful. But this prayer works if you're saying it to yourself or out loud.
Yeah, regardless. And so let's say, okay, so we get to this point and we're feeling like, okay, I got this. I actually feel like I can say this and mean it. And, I'm working through all this. Is it something that can happen instantly where people will get to a place of healing? Does it take time? How does this all work?
It's all different. I've had energy sessions where people after half an hour session have totally been healed. And I have people that I've worked on for, months on and off that don't heal. Mm-hmm. It is very individual to the situation. It's very individual to time, at the time of their lives. I worked with a client a while ago that the first session she got her sight back and was mobile, and then she wound up getting sick again like 6 months later. The things in her life hadn't really changed. That's it too. Like, okay, if you're in an abusive relationship and you got sick and you're suddenly better, but you're still in an abusive relationship, you might wind up getting sick again. Haven't really taken care of what contributed to that, to you being out of balance. So there are so many different levels of healing and why some people heal and why some people don't. But there is that personal responsibility, too. Like, am I doing everything I can for myself to make sure I have a good life? Am I eating McDonald's every day, or am I trying to eat relatively healthy? Do I have healthy relationships in my life, or do I find myself being kind of a trash can, really taking kind of, you could say Ho'oponopono all the time, but if you're not taking some kind of action, too, to make sure that you're telling the universe, yeah, I am worthy of this, not just by saying this prayer, but I'm taking some action to show I'm worthy of this. I'm going to make sure my living environment isn't cluttered. I'm going to weed out the friends in my life that aren't really good friends, and relatives. I'm going to, go to a job where I don't feel, abused and overworked. Like really taking an assessment of your life as well and doing the things that are good for you and loving yourself enough to give yourself permission to do those things.
Well, it's interesting. Once we get into those places where we're kind of going, you know what, I can allow this. I'm going to allow myself healing. And then all these wonderful things start to happen.
Absolutely. And that is such a hard thing. I mean, the self-worth. So many people, you ask them how they are. Oh, well, you wouldn't believe I got this bad cold, or, this person was sick, or, we go to the negative. So it really is, it's a training. It's a mind training to just bring ourselves back to, I don't want to be complaining. I don't want to listen to anyone else complain. I want to be in a happy place, and I want to be around happy people, and I deserve that. Who doesn't deserve that? I mean, if you're, you have good intentions. You want to help yourself. You want to help the people around you. You want to help the world at large. I mean, there is not, one thing I don't think stopping you from doing that, except our inner talk, So really working on releasing those limiting beliefs and looking at our life honestly. What have we created up until this point? Not to punish ourselves, not to berate ourselves, not to, I don't want you beating yourself up and about, the life so far. It's really about just noticing and saying, that's kind of interesting. That was created from before, but what do I want to create now? And loving ourselves enough, just like if a friend, if a child, if someone we loved came to us with that same situation, how we'd throw our arms around them and tell them it would be okay and give them 10 different ways it would work out. Just treating ourselves with that same love and kindness.
Yeah, and so often we don't. No, when we get to these places, we'll treat everyone with loving kindness, and we're kind of at the bottom of that whole loving kindness, scale.
Yeah, and women, I think, are the most guilty of that because, there are men guilty of that too, but women because we feel like we have to be nurturers for everybody, and should smile while doing it, and not take time for ourselves and, do everything with a big smile on our face. But it is really challenging, to give ourselves that time. Everyone needs mental health time. Everyone needs time to be alone with their thoughts and to do it in a positive, constructive way, not for the beating up, but everyone should be doing something that brings them joy. What brings you joy? What creative outlet brings you joy? Are you out in nature? If you're shut in all the time, that's going to be a pretty hard place to create from, because even, go out on the deck or something if you're not that mobile, go outside a little bit, get some fresh air. I mean, Mother Nature is healing, So doing these things, looking after ourselves, and knowing that only we can really create the life we want, but we have to give ourselves permission first. And we have to just take away those negative thoughts, whatever your parents told you, whatever your teachers told you, whatever society has told you. That's only really a small piece. We can create our highest vision of ourselves and go from there, as long as we don't get in our own way, and when we do get in our own way, just being a little, nice about it, being like, okay, excuse me, I'm going around this way now.
You're taking this detour. Such a great thing to share as well, because I think a lot of times we just kind of feel like a failure. I'm going to speak for myself and a few other people, we get to this point where we kind of feel like a failure. It's like, gosh, none of this is working, and I'm in my own way, and I just give up. It's like you could just brush yourself off and continue. Absolutely. And instead of like the giving up, there's the just releasing that, okay, it's the letting go. Okay, instead of giving up, I'm letting go. Obviously this wasn't the right way, but I've learned, please make another way available to me. I'm open, I'm receptive. I'm learning, we've all heard about, Edison creating how many, like 1,000 versions of the light bulb, before getting it right. I mean, and we want things done the first time, we're like, we don't have time for that. We don't have patience for that. But, knowing that it is a learning journey, and if we can be kind to ourselves and supportive on ourselves and say, okay, duly noted, I'm not dating a guy like that again, I'm making a better decision next time, or, take that piece as just something you learned, a life lesson, a valuable life lesson, and usually the biggest challenges are our hugest life lessons, and being patient and loving with ourselves and being like, wow, I made it through that. So many times, too, we're so focused on where we want to go, and we don't realize how far we've come. Look at yourself 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and, how far you've come in any area of your life, and give yourself a ton of credit. The more we focus on the things we have done and how we're a good friend, how we've shown up for somebody in our lives, the more we can give ourselves that empowerment instead of the disempowerment we usually feel. Yeah, we're able to kind of move beyond all of that, which is such a huge thing because it's so easy to get stuck. Oh, yeah, and the environment in these days, if you dare, look at news on Facebook or anywhere else, you could feel totally disempowered, so really limiting that kind of stuff, too. If you want to go look at news, go look up happy news or inspirational stories. Go watch The Voice or something like that. Watch something that's going to, or listen to Moments with Marianne. Listen to something that's going to inspire you instead of something that's going to make you feel horrible and disempowered. Oh, and thank you. In this, I appreciate that was very kind of you to do that. But I agree with you because we have to find whatever it is. If someone's a reader, pick up books that make you inspired. And I know your book, A Short Path to Change. When I first read that really did a lot, and that's why it made me such a huge follower of your work. So I was so excited when you have this new one on Ho'oponopono that's out. But, I mean, these different works really help people to get in the mindset of more of positivity than anything else, Thank you, Marianne, for that. I really appreciate that. And, yeah, it is about feeling empowered, getting past all our limiting thoughts and just knowing we can do it, knowing there's a way, giving ourselves that hope. Again, just like the stage 3 cancer clients need hope, we need hope. We beat ourselves up so much where we feel like,
sometimes we don't even want to get out of bed in the morning, with our thoughts. But again, watching those, especially in the morning and at night, watch those thoughts. Say Ho'oponopono first thing. Start the morning off right. Say it in the shower. What are you ready to release? What do you want to create? It does contribute energy. We contribute energy with every thought, and the emotions that are behind it make it like 100-fold. So, if you can say Ho'oponopono with emotion, I have most of my clients, when they say it the first time, they report back that they were bawling because it is very hard to tell yourself you love you. You love yourself, and you forgive yourself. We beat ourselves up so much. So I think that this book is such a gift. I was so blessed to be a part, a co-author, because everyone writes their different experience with it and their different miracles that they've seen with it. And, it's also a date book and a gratitude journal, too. So it's so awesome, to have this. It's like daily inspiration. I know that's my date book for next year. I need those constant reminders. I do this stuff, and I still need the constant reminders. We can always use these little reminders through the day that we are powerful. Life doesn't have to be that hard. We do have these tools to use that can make ourselves feel a lot better, and in doing that, we make everyone around us feel better.
Oh. Well, and what a perfect note to end, our time together on. And, so Jenny, where can people connect with you and be part of your community? I know I have benefited greatly from just the appointments and time that we've spent together and, of course, your books. But where can they connect with you and learn more about you?
Well, my website is jennymannion.com, JennyMannion.com, and on there I do offer a free energy-guided meditation, the first chapter of my book, my chakra ebook, as well as a free consultation with me where I offer people tools. They bring me one challenge. We can only do so much in 10 to 20 minutes, but one challenge they want to work on, and I'm happy to give them some tools to go away with. And you could find me on Facebook, too, and my books are on Amazon, so there's lots of ways to reach me.
Well, I highly suggest booking time with you, Jenny. I mean, it's been profound for me, and I've enjoyed our time together. And, and thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here today and sharing all of your insights with us.
Thank you so much, Marianne. I always love connecting with you. I'm very grateful to be on your show.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, it's always more fun than we should have, I think,
I know. Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. Well, this is the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to tune in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne. And remember, make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary. A recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Moments with Marianne airs every Thursday, Friday, and Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.